Good morning, beautiful people.
Good
It is
morning.
good to see Joe. It's good to see Harriet. It's good to see that Barbara is joining us. And it is a rainy and cold day in Bellingham, Washington.
Well, it's sunny here. We had our snow over the weekend, but it's sunny here now.
Oh, very good. Very good.
Where do you live, Joe, to have snow this late in the year?
Minnesota, St. Paul.
Oh, that'll do it.
Yep. Yep.
And hi, good to see you, Barbara. You're looking beautiful today.
Thank you. New glasses.
They're very cute.
Cute.
Very cute. And Debbie White is in the house. Awesome stuff. Yay.
Here we go.
I'm so glad you're here. We have a very special class today in store, and we want to get started right away because our guest faculty member is going to have to leave shortly to go deliver some brilliance to her amazing clients. If you haven't had the occasion to meet Debbie White, she is a mover and shaker. She's a branding, it's hard to describe it. I wouldn't say it's branding, but it's how can you stand out in the crowd as a lighthouse brand? That is her signature approach to helping people stand out in a very crowded marketplace and attract the right clients who wisely invest in their services. Is there anyone here who wants to attract more of the right people who will wisely invest in their services? Can I see a show of hands?
No.
It is a universal need that people have. And after decades and decades of experience and accomplished results in agencies and such, Debbie has run multiple 6- and 7-figure businesses where she's been at the helm, and in the recent years has gotten to very quickly to a multiple 6-figure enterprise with her expertise, which is being a loud lighthouse brand and showing up on social media as who you really are so that people will want to do business with you. I have been noticing as I follow you all on social media that there sometimes appears to be a rhyme or reason to the posts that are made, and sometimes it seems a little bit random. And I was thinking to myself, if I was a podcast host and I was following y'all and checking you out, for some of you, I'd say, ooh, I'm so excited that I discovered this person. And for some of you, I might say, this person's all over the place. I'm not sure they're the person I want to have on my show. And since I am a podcast guesting expert, I want to look out for you and make sure that every move that you make is reinforcing the bigger goals that you have. I also want to acknowledge that it's not just podcast guest spots that you want. It is new clients who want to invest meaningfully in your services so that you can work your brilliance and everybody can have a wonderful exchange of good energy. And so that's why I asked Debbie White if she would come on with us today to first share a little bit of insight about what she knows about what works today. And then for those of you who are brave and willing to raise your hand, she'll actually take a look at your Instagram or your Facebook to see how you're showing up and to offer some truth telling for your consideration so that any future posts could be even more on the money. Many of you play on LinkedIn, and just as a caveat, we're not probably going to be able to dig in too deep there for today. Should you need additional support in this arena, you're free to reach back to Debbie to see if you can engage with her in that regard. She may be able to offer some suggestions, but we're going to focus on Instagram and LinkedIn and Facebook for today, because that's really where she spends the majority of her time and how fruitful it has proven to be for her. So Debbie, so glad you're here.
Oh, that was very generous. Can you always introduce me like everywhere I go? Can I just get the recording of that and I can like have ChatGPT like write it for me? Okay.
By the way, has anybody's been using ChatGPT since we talked about it last week or the week before? I mean, we'll pick up on that after Debbie's presentation, but I thought that was super fun and productive and useful last time, and I'll be eager to hear what y'all are up to with that. But sorry to interrupt, Debbie, it's your show.
No, it's great. I saw Barbara's like, and Barbara, I did pull up your LinkedIn. I'll be honest, I can do the work that I do works on any platform because it's very strategic, but I specialize in Facebook and Instagram, and I can do that like almost with my eyes closed. I know exactly what to look for. I don't spend as much time anymore on LinkedIn, so I'm not as like, but I do think you'll have some takeaways. There's always takeaways. The takeaway in any platform nowadays, even LinkedIn, right? And I think this is where it might be a little different. And I would be curious, these are stats I don't have, but how many users on LinkedIn are using desktop versus mobile? And my guess is you're going to have more desktop users because they're in more of a corporate working environment. But as we know, people are also using their mobile. Either way, even with a desktop, we've gotten this habit of like, we scroll now, like really, really fast. Okay. And so our attention span, the average attention span is now 7.8 seconds, I think. And so it's really nuts. So it's what I feel has happened, and I love pulling in data, is pandemic happened, the whole world went online. A lot of those habits haven't gone away, and they won't go away. And what I perceive is the need to be highly focused with your content. And I'm going to actually look at profiles, has to happen fast, because you might have 3 seconds or so when someone's checking you out, like, who wrote that? Let me go check out Barbara or Joe or, Vicky. And they're going to go to your profile and kind of go give you a once over. Like, do I want to follow them? Do I want to be connected with them? Or maybe do I want them to guest? And they're making very quick judgments in like 3 seconds. It's just nuts. But they'll usually look at your profile and do a quick scroll and kind of look around. It has to be really easy and really upfront, and then they'll make a decision. That seems harsh, but there's a way to optimize that. And that's what, that'll work on any platform. I can do it really fast on Facebook. How many of you guys or Instagram, how many of you are on Facebook and use Facebook as a way to connect with potential clients? Just Nancy. Okay. Harriet. Okay, great. And the rest of you are, is it kinda, Vicky? You're kinda?
I'm on Facebook, but the place where I really connect with potential clients is LinkedIn.
Okay.
It's
Me
where I
too.
do a lot of the meetings and stuff that I get.
Yeah.
are
Okay.
LinkedIn.
Okay,
Yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
And then have you guys ever considered expanding onto Facebook to for a more
I use
casual business
Facebook a lot for
approach?
my personal stuff, but not a lot. I mean, I have a business page, but
Yeah.
it's not really congruent with what I am now. It's kind of old. So I do post on there, and it is
Yeah.
relevant to some degree, but it's not really what I'm using to connect
Yeah.
with. So,
Well,
And
here's,
well, I just want to say something there too. If
Yeah.
your business page is old, I'm just going to comment. I think sometimes people will go looking for people and find them wherever they find them.
Yeah.
And if your business page is old and incongruent with what you're currently doing, you might just want to refresh it for those people who happen to find you there.
right. Well,
That's a really good point.
here's what I'll suggest. This is just a thought. I'm all for less is more. But if you're on Facebook already, a couple things. It's really easy to take some of your content and throw it into ChatGPT and say, write me a Facebook post from this in a friendly, casual tone, and throw in a personal picture and like just repurpose stuff. Because here's something that we do know. Facebook is still above and beyond the largest platform in the world. And if your audience is 40 plus, they're on Facebook. So that's just something to keep in mind, above and beyond.
I have a
And
question.
so,
My question is, My Facebook page is, and everything I do on Facebook is, looking at people's pictures when they went on
Yeah.
vacation,
Exactly.
so I
Um,
think, I don't know that I have a business, I don't even know I have
Yeah.
a business page.
Well, let me tell you what the services that have a presence on Facebook, and this one's a hard pill for people to swallow, and I swallowed it, and it's just how I do things now. You should have a business page so people can find you, at least sometimes people just want to check you out, and that's where they happen to be, and they'll look you up like, oh, it's legitimate, oh, it's here. And I repurpose to my Facebook personal page, but it's not a primary place I go to. It's kind of like a Yellow Pages, in my opinion. And I throw in repurposed content in there if anyone wants to like have a look. But where Facebook actually sends more people and where people will find you is your personal page. And most people that are making a living on Facebook are doing it via their personal page. And that's the personal page I'm going to talk about optimizing. And if you've never done that before, it can sound really weird. And it sounded really weird the first time someone told me that. It's like, but I talked to my aunts and uncles and like high school friends. That's
Right.
weird. And I would just say that, well, my aunts and uncles and high school friends all know that I run a business, and this is how I'm running a business. And I just made that choice.
I would concur with what you're saying. I do have a Facebook business page, and I would post on it regularly. Then Facebook changed something, and I couldn't go back and forth between my personal, and I didn't know how to.
It's very easy. You hit that icon.
Yeah,
like
everything
picture.
is easy for others.
You just have to practice. But
But
yeah,
no, I concur, and and when you said you were going to offer to do these profiles, and I said, oh, I looked at my Facebook and I could see where it felt like, oh, she's all over the place because she's posting astrology stuff. She's posting April is Poetry Month. And so I stuck in there at one point, oh, and if you want to talk about this, schedule a guidance session.
yeah. So I do run mine as a business. It has a little more of a personal touch because Facebook still feels to me, which I love, more like a water cooler discussion. It has a different vibe even, I feel like, when I'm talking than like what I might post on Instagram. It just does. It definitely does from LinkedIn. So I think it just allows you to like, how would you talk to colleagues if you all met at the water cooler? In your own voice. Like that's the voice that really resonates on Facebook, because there's a lot of people doing business and looking for what you do, and maybe they're not even making the connection, and they're like, I actually know someone that maybe should talk to you. It's that kind of stuff. So there's ways to optimize your personal. I'm actually going to focus on your personal page because most people are under optimized on your personal page. And so let's just say you're on a podcast and your perfect fit client is hearing about you, and maybe they're not on LinkedIn. I don't know. Maybe they are. I mean, some of you, they're all going to be, but maybe they just happen to be hanging out on Facebook at the time. Like, well, I kind of want to look up Barbara Spector. Is she out there? I mean, they might, or if you start engaging, if that's something you want to look forward to, like Harriet, Joe, and Nancy, you guys are engaging in other groups, people will go, who is making those really interesting, insightful comments? Who is Nancy Juetten? Okay, I'm going to check her out. And then you go look and you do a quick scroll, like, what did she do? Okay. Well, there's a way to optimize that touch point where they're going to go, oh yeah, I want to be her friend. And then you could even show them a freebie right there, or have them sign up from your workshop right on your personal page profile.
So I'm giving you permission to share screen, Debbie.
Okay.
So if you want to go and look at like who would like to be your first victim. Vicky's raising her hand. Way to be first. And then
Let's pull you up on Facebook.
Then Barb, and then of course Harriet.
Sure.
And Diana, we can't see you, but we were so glad you're here.
Okay, Vicky, there you are.
Oh, there you are. Good to see you.
Okay. Oh, this will be fun. So what's fun about this is it's really, honestly, this is a simple way of optimizing. It doesn't take a whole lot of time. I mean, y'all could sit here right now and start it. The only thing that might take you a teeny weeny bit of time, but there's covers for that, is something in Canva to do a nice cover. And so what I'll do is I'll run through yours, and then I'll kind of show you what I'm doing. Just so you can see the difference.
Why don't you, can you start with you? Because I think
Yeah,
starting
sure,
with,
that might help. Yeah.
that would
that's
be
a good
really
idea.
helpful.
I'll just start with me. I'll show you how I've optimized my cover. And again, this is my personal page. And when you see it, it's like, oh, she's a business. Oh, this is exactly what she does. It's really obvious. So I do that so that people will hopefully, the right people will want to be friends with me. And it's also a way of validating if I'm in a space, they can, you know, say like, oh, I really want that or whatever. But it's just optimizing that. So let's share real quick and I'll show you guys. So this is my personal page. It definitely looks like a business. It's literally got a big sign right now about my workshop. I flip this up about at the sometimes 3-week point, but maybe definitely by the 2-week point before the workshop. And this is something you can do if you have an event coming up. And it's just like a billboard to let everyone know, you know, this is the benefit, you know, it's called the lighthouse effect, but it's 5 steps to clear messaging to get the clients you want. That's what you're going to learn with me. So that's the bigger thing that they want. And this is the information. Now they can actually sign up by, you can see the little arrow click. If you click that, this is what's really cool. You can edit this cover photo. You literally click edit and you can put in the benefit, discover the 5 steps to becoming a lighthouse brand, where you consistently attract perfect fit clients with ease. Grab your free spot for this live 2-part masterclass, May 2nd with the date. Here's the link. So right there, someone can literally go to my profile and they can sign up for it. If they're like, I'm really digging what she's all about. And here's what else I've done. And I'm so curious. I wish I had I probably should create a special link for this, Nancy, that shows me how many people are clicking. The intro, you can describe what you do, or maybe you put your gift in there. So I have my freebie, free gift, the 3 biggest obstacles. I used a bit.ly link to shorten it because you only get so many characters. I can't remember the character count on your intro. And then I'll take this off from time to time, but no, I'm probably gonna leave it actually. So what I did to tell people who I am is I made sure that this was really clear, and I kind of did a couple sneaky things. This is my Facebook business page, Frankly Deb. So what I did is I changed the name in my description because it pulls it up on my business page, so it could tell people what I do. I help power up women-owned brands, you know, and I have a House of Impact brand and marketing program. So I want people to have some feeling like marketing, you know, you're seeing like, oh, okay, she helps me with clear messaging. She's a brand and marketing person. So I want people to kind of get that right out the gate. And I'm always looking at ways to like switch this up. And when I don't have an event going on, I'll say something about what it is that I do with an arrow to my free Facebook group to join my Facebook group.
Debbie, how do you keep your friends and family from jamming your site up with
You
your
know,
stuff?
they're really supportive. I mean, I've told some people if it means that much to you, start a second account and just use your middle name or something, you know, for your friends and family. It's kind of a workaround, but I just made the decision that I don't have time for that. And my friends and family know that I have a business, and they'll DM me, or they'll, you know, once in a while I will throw in a personal something because, you know, I'm a person. And so I might throw in like a family photo, and all my friends and family are like, wow. And, you know, I do treat this like a true community, but it's a community where everyone knows that I'm running a business. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Like I could scroll, like I haven't even thought about doing this, but I talked about ChatGPT also this week. Nancy talked about it. This is one of my Instagram reels, and I repurposed it here in Facebook. Someone tagged me. This is me talking about my workshop. This is someone tagging me, and it's just great because it's really all about, no, this is me. I wrote that, but that's a personal shot. But this is very Facebook friendly. Let me put that. That is me talking about messaging and you know, just getting interaction from the group. This is actually, it just looks very personal. I ran the same copy on Instagram with a totally different, more professional looking carousel. And I just wrote the copy in here, and it's really like my why I even do this. And it really starts off with, I got fired for being pregnant at the age of 28 from Seattle's biggest ad agency. And I tell the story. And I just included this really old picture of me and the daughter I was pregnant with. So that's that personal water cooler vibe. And then I share things about my group. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but you can kind of get a gist like, oh, she runs a business. And, you know, once in a while there will be some very personal things on there, but sometimes there's very marketing forward stuff, you know, if you kind of go down. But that's how I do things. But from the profile standpoint, your cover, and you kind of have to play with your cover, because I will tell you the size they have in Canva, it will crop the bottom and top off significantly. Really don't know why they do that. So you kind of have to play with that cover size to get it to work. And just know that's also so that when you scale it down to a mobile, like you want to kind of look at all that. And just a little tip, just know that your profile picture will end up in the center when you scroll it down. So you don't want any copy right there.
Quick question. You showed that we're a Zoom thing, and the people from 3 different pictures with Zoom, are those people aware that they might go public?
Yeah, they're in my group, and I have that in my like agreement. Yeah,
Okay.
that might use like a screenshot or something like that. And I'm really careful about, like, if there's a quote or something that I'm quoting them or something like that, I will ask their permission. Is it okay to share this? You know, that kind of thing. So, do y'all have any questions on this?
Did you do was your cover, the cover done on Canva?
Yes.
And was there a way to create a link inside of it on Canva?
No.
So people could check? So how does somebody click on the no fee workshop?
So this is just a cover that you upload in Facebook.
Yeah.
Made it in Canva. And then once you upload it in here, this is in Facebook now. You click edit. See this edit button right here? You click edit. I'm sorry, hold on, that's not it. You click this. You click the picture, then you click edit. See this? There's an edit button up here. And you can actually put a description up here with a link.
With a link, but so does that go to where you're pointing in your, I'm not clear.
So can you actually follow the link, Debbie? Go into that description, and you clicked on the link, and what do you know? She's on the opt-in page.
Yeah.
Do you see that? So one practical application for each and every one of you who has a brand new sassy gift, every one of you could have a banner across the top of your Facebook that says, download, if you want to convert sales faster, go here. If you want to, and then have the link to your gift right there. Because you know something, I know Debbie was mentioning some of the statistics, but people 40 and over and better are hanging out on Facebook.
They are.
And people 40 and better are business to business service providers that have families and friends that are curious about what you do when you're not hanging out with your family and friends. And if you are serious about attracting clients and being present as an expert, it's just a huge lost opportunity not to use your Facebook to convey what you're up to and what you care about so that you can get some measurable results. And so every one of you, you can go to canva.com and you can search for Facebook banners, and you can look through what comes up and find something that is on brand for you with regard to, you know, the appearance, the font choice, the whatever. And in a matter of minutes, you can create something gorgeous like this, or engage your virtual assistant to do it for you. But you don't have to hire a designer to create these beautiful things, because Canva has made it easy for you to access the work of other designers that have come before you. And I imagine that there's some AI application that we can all use to do this too, but Canva is the one that I'm the most familiar with at this point.
The best for this. And Canva is, well, not to get into a whole nother thing, they're actually bringing AI into Canva too, just to get crazier for some of the writing. It's getting wild. But yes, just make a cover. And like I said, the big thing I'll tell you, and Canva's pretty good about this, just watch it, because when you go into mobile, this is a big mistake I see people make. You want your title to be visible when they pop your, so kind of halfway up the part that shows. And that's another goofy thing, is when you pop your cover in here, the Canva cover is going to be taller. It's going to crop off a little bit of the bottom and a little bit of the top. It's kind of goofy, but that's just how it works. Like if I took
Well,
this-
and I want to point out one other thing. If I'm a podcast host and I just land here for a second, I can see that Debbie White has 3,400 followers and 760 people who are following her. And as a self-interested podcast host, I think to myself, I would love to have a guest on my show that has thousands of followers, because when the show drops, I know that I can count on her to share the episode with her people. And that brings me, the podcast host, more eyeballs and ears to listen to the episode, which means that I may be in a good position to get more subscribers and more downloads, which is the currency that matters to me. So those are some cool metrics that appeal to me as a podcast host. And so I'm so glad we started with you, because right here we see, you know what you're trying to do here. The Lighthouse workshop is coming up and the date is crystal clear. The link is provided, and we know that you have a free gift. And if we are interested in that, we can go and get it.
That's right.
And you look pretty and you look credible, and you've got a logo that looks cool, and you look like someone to be taken seriously as a business professional and as a human being, right?
I love your colors. Colors are great.
Thank you. I've had that yellow for like forever. It's like my color.
So alive.
Not my favorite either. It's just the color of my, it's the feeling of my brand. Let's put it that way.
Yep. It's great.
So is now a good time to take a look at Vicky's profile?
Yeah. Joe, did you have a quick question before we move
Yeah,
on?
just real quick, and obviously I'm a rookie here while Holly's doing all this for me. What's the difference between followers and following? What is the definition between those two?
You know, that's a good question. This is new, by the way. This is new, and I haven't like done my ample research, but you can now, they switch things where I have followers and then there's people following, and I don't have a good answer
Well,
right.
well, I have an answer for you. The
have an
followers are
answer?
people following Debbie, and the 760 are people you're following.
Oh, thanks. Oh, I thought that was who follow. Okay, got it. See?
Thank you.
Because they did switch it from friends to followers. Thank you. See, I should have known that.
Like on LinkedIn, it no longer says connections, it says followers.
Followers, everyone's doing the followers because it used to say friends, right? Now it's followers. Okay, thanks, Vicky. There you go. And then just to be clear, this is not a hyperlink. It's just a graphic to get you to think it's a hyperlink. So you'll click it. Like if you click this banner, this comes up, right? And then you edit that little thing. That's the little trick there.
So you put the hyperlink into the Canva image
There's
somehow.
no hyperlink.
Well, you just said,
No,
there's
it's right here.
hyperlink.
It's right here.
But the hyperlink isn't attached to the image. That's what I'm trying to communicate. It's just something I dropped into the edit area.
okay, okay, thank you.
Is that clear, you guys? Because I was hearing that you thought it was hyperlinked. It's not. It just looks like it is.
But if you click on that, it opens up that little
Exactly.
dialog.
This is a directive, so people will think to click, like, oh, something happens if I click that.
Right.
You wouldn't think to click your banner. And you can even say click here to, click here. I mean, I've done that in the past. Maybe I need to say click here to register.
No,
make
I think the
it blind.
arrow does it. It's great.
But that's really what it is. Click here to register, and then you can tell about it with the link. So, and you can use this for anything. You can use it for your freebie. So, okay. Let's go to Vicky. So again, this is what I like to do when I'm talking about this. Most people, when they go, like maybe I make some comment somewhere in a Facebook group or who knows where, and someone's like, who's this Debbie? That was really insightful, or do I want to add her as a follower or whatever? I want to follow her. They'll usually kind of go to your profile and they'll spend literally about this long. They'll go,
Could I ask one other question before you flip to Vicky? If you
Uh-huh.
scroll down just a little bit.
Yeah.
right here where you have these featured images,
Yes.
is there anything you want to say about that?
Yeah, that I need to update mine, but this is a really good point. You can feature images, and I just realized now I need to update mine. I do have this one featured, that's good. You can edit your featured images, and you can bring up, and it'll show 3. So I could go through images and I could say, oh, I want to really, feature certain images. Maybe I want to feature be a lighthouse brand, or, certain things that are going to be featured in that little space. And you can, let's see what happens if I do that. Anyway, you can feature certain things here. You can edit your collection. So this is really good to do. It's all about that 3-second scroll. I'm not sure if that's going to work. Anyway, I just realized I need to take some stuff off. So I could take off this.
So these images aren't linked to anything. They're static.
No, they're featured. I'm not going to do that right now. I need to get in there, and I just realized I need to edit my features. But you can feature images. And again, if someone is giving you about 2 to 3 seconds to decide your banner, what do you do? Can they tell really quickly what you do? Okay, she's brand marketing. Like that would have helped me right there. I need to take that, but I have House of Impact, Brown Retreat, Lighthouse Effect. So you can actually feature things right here. And then I do have my free gift right here, Frankly Deb gift. I have my website, I have my Instagram. You can put your various, other places in there as well. Highly recommend you do that. But that's a good point. You can actually feature specific posts in here to help clarify what you do.
So any ahas so
anyway.
far from anyone? Get any value from that showcase of this particular profile? Was this useful?
Yes, because when I knew she was doing that, I went in there and updated some things.
Ah, she's doing
Nothing
stuff
to,
already.
but had nothing to do with my business. So the whole thing.
Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think it's okay. Like I'll post stuff about my family, but I won't post stuff about my family like 5 times in a row. Like I'm aware of what I'm sharing and how, but from time to time.
Can't you also get a little strategic and focused? Like if you have an event coming up on May 2nd to the 3rd, the 2 weeks leading up to it, wouldn't you just put a little bit more focus on the wow that's coming up in 2 weeks?
Yeah.
And then when the event is over, you can go back to a lighter promotional schedule.
Yes. Yeah.
So let's look at
building engagement. Like, this one didn't get the best engagement. It got some, thank you, Nancy. But you want to be talking about things to build engagement from time to time to just get
so
the.
can you talk about that for a minute? Because what are we looking for? Are we looking for likes, hearts, shares? Are we looking for comments?
On Facebook,
what if we post? I want to just ask this because I want to ask everybody who's here. Have you ever noticed that sometimes you post and nothing happens? There's no likes, there's no comments, there's no shares. You posted, you checked the box, but nothing happened. My opinion is that that's probably not a really great post if nothing's happening. So Debbie, what should we be looking for to know whether or not our posts are on the money?
Well, okay, like I did this post and I got 112 likes and not 26 comments. So you know what I could do? This is when you do it. That was on April 10th. I could go and I could pin this post to the very top. And it's very personal, but it's all about what I do and why I do it. And I start out by, this is called a hook. It's a hook. I got fired for being pregnant at the age of 28 from Seattle's biggest ad agency. And there's this very home, very Facebook friendly, because we love to share photos of our family, but I'm talking about my business. And then I literally was very vulnerable and very honest. I mean, you can read it, but I literally talked about how I told my boss, once I was pregnant, we went to lunch and he asked me, what are your plans? And I literally said, I'm not sure, which was looking back really stupid at the time. And I didn't have a job 7 days later.
Amazing.
And I was a top art director at the time. I really was, in a man's world. And nothing against the men, but this particular man, a lot against him. He was just, like that's how he rolled. He had a different way of thinking about things. So I tell a story how that really turned everything, and I filed a claim with the EEOC. They won the case, and that's when my whole life changed. And I talk about how I realized what was possible. And the next year I made 3 times that income. I never worked for another company again. I started multiple businesses, et cetera. I say this whole thing about how so much is possible. And then I talk about my workshop. It's literally a post about my workshop. I say, you know, it's the best work I could ever do is helping these women succeed and know that everything's possible. So much is possible. And that includes how to become the preferred brand of choice with your marketing, which is what I call the Lighthouse Effect. The Lighthouse Effect workshop happens May 2nd through 3rd. Let's break through some barriers. So I literally got 26 comments. And it's all because I was really vulnerable, and this is coming from my heart, you know, that's the kind of content right there. I'm just giving a social media lesson. That's the kind of content that touches people. And that's why I also talk a lot about your purpose, because if we can talk about really, really why you're doing this, there's going to be a spark in there that someone else is going to feel and be like, heck yeah. Oh yeah, I'm all about that too. And if you
Well,
can
and Debbie, that's about filling the emotional bucket. That's something that Joe talks about a lot. There's the logical reason that we need to be a lighthouse brand, but then there's the emotional reason that we want to be a lighthouse brand. And so if we could go to Vicky, I'd like
Let's
to
go to
see
Vicky. So that was a little mini
going
lesson
on and make sure that he has to leave at 10, and I know you probably do too. So I'm going to try to get to as many of the participants as
So
possible.
let's go to Vicky.
Could you refresh the page, please?
Yes. Let me stop share for a minute and make sure it's okay. Yeah, I know. It's been
a lot of times we come, you know, kind of in a celebratory way or connecting with you, but today we're feeling a little different, but we felt like it was still.
Well, that's weird. I changed the banner while you were talking. So
oh, I see what you're doing. Okay, I'm hearing something in the background.
I know it's.
Oh, she did.
Oh,
okay.
there we go.
Banner.
I hear a video of yours, Vicky, in the background.
Yeah.
I don't know why that would be.
Sorry. So notice this. That's what I was talking about, Vicky. Just play with this, because when you go on mobile, I can see Get Real Charisma, and this is better than it was. It was just a pretty, you know, visual picture. So kind of play with that. I like to, I've kind of learned that if I keep everything to one side, the left or the right, and use flush left, it's easier to read. That when people look at it on their mobile, they'll be able to read it when my picture covers up a big chunk of the middle.
That's great. Thank you.
Very important.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, already better. A quick change. So let's get real about charisma. 3 keys to inspire and motivate your audience every time you speak. So now I know what Vicky does. See, this is so cool. I didn't know that before. So this is one of those things. And yeah, this also signals to your community like, oh, she is a businesswoman. And it's like, you've got to own that. Like, yes, I am. I'm also a real human, and I have real stories to share. And so then you can go down here. You can add an intro like I did. You can add a click if you want to invite people into some place or space to learn more about you. It could be a freebie, it could be your podcast, it could be an upcoming workshop, it could be a Facebook group you run, whatever that is. And then people will do, we'll kind of do this to see like what's she all about. So like, yeah, I'm seeing that you're a part of things, you're in business. It's not just solid shots of, you know, you and your cat. So, you know, I mean, you know, be surprised what people will just post over and over. So I get a sense that you're, you know, the things you support, people will do this. People will scroll and get a feeling for you and your vibe and what you're all about. And they'll be like, oh, she's my kind of person. Okay, cool. So yeah. So the cover matters. You can definitely add in that intro I showed you. And
so for the intro, Debbie, for the intro, is that how do I? Oh, there's. Never mind. Sorry.
Got it. Okay. Yeah.
So
and then
so just because I want to make sure that like, could we adjust that in real time right now while we're here?
Good idea.
Like what could that be right now while we're here?
So this is interesting. I think I I think there's a new setting. I need to look at this because hers says friends. I think there's a new setting that you can accept. Because I remember doing this. I'm gonna have to look into it. When I accepted some new update, and that's why I think yours says friends and mine doesn't. I think there's something. I need to figure out what's going on there. I keep more on top of Instagram, to be honest. I even do Facebook. Some of this stuff, like, I don't know that it matters as much as like, I want to hear about what you do and get your business page on there. It's not on there, so you can link it. Some people will go check that out just to have it there. And like I said, what I do is I don't post directly to that page. I repurpose to it.
Mhm.
So like when I'm doing Instagram, I have it shared.
Just for people who are a little bit not familiar with some of these terms, when you say repurpose to it, do you mean
Okay.
share the post on the business page, or
Oh, what?
cut and
Yes.
paste and share?
Yeah, and for you guys, since you're on LinkedIn, this might be different. But what I do is, because I'm Instagram first, Facebook second is my strategy. I actually can set up my planning app, which I do plan my posts, to automatically post the same content right onto my Facebook business page. It won't post to my personal. It'll only post. So I do that. What you could do is from time to time, take the same content and just drop it, whatever your content is on LinkedIn or whatever platform, and just drop it in your business page. You can also do it on your personal, just make it feel like a Facebook post. You can just drop whatever you have. I just figure, I really feel like the business page is more like I said, like a yellow page. There'll be like 1 or 2 people hanging around there, but most people come on to the personal side because they don't push out the business page. They want you spending money on ads.
And why are you Instagram primarily? I think of that for people under 40 and I'm over 70, so that's why I stick
I
with.
think I'm really going for people 40 to 60s is kind of my sweet spot. And I ask everyone, and they're split on Instagram and Facebook. And honestly, I enjoy the platform a little more.
Okay.
I
Okay.
think it's easier for me to target in a way that it's a little different on Facebook.
Isn't it all pictures though, Instagram?
No. It's a video platform, and they even say that now. It's very video forward. It's a mix now of video. You can turn, I mean, I could get into a whole Instagram thing, which is a whole nother discussion, but no, it's a mix. It's a mix of carousel posts that scroll, lots of video, and once in a while a single post, but very informative based.
I agree. I get it, but I don't post on it. I get stuff through Instagram, and it is quick, it's visual, and they make their point and keep going.
Yeah.
That's right.
I'm still playing with it. I think there's a lot of opportunity there, so I'm still there. I'm still playing around over there. So, well, I hope that was helpful. Okay, who else has raised their hand? Harriet, you did.
No, I was next.
Oh, Barbara, do you have a Facebook?
Yep.
Okay, let's go.
So I have 2, actually. I've got Barbara Spector, and then I have my business, which is smartmovesinc.com. There I am at the top. Yeah.
Okay, well, we need to be friends. Okay, add friend. Okay.
So I never use this for business purposes.
I know. I'm trying to refresh your page.
This isn't what mine looks like when I open it. It's funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to, it's not loading anything. Let's see. Well, for sometimes when you're updating your covers, but it usually throws in like the blank template look, but I'm not seeing anything, which is really weird.
Well, I don't have anything.
Oh, well, that's
Lost opportunity. Lost opportunity.
I mean,
imagine this.
I've never even considered Facebook as to be of value to me.
Okay, so I want to say something here. You're driving down the road to get to your next destination, and you have to look at the road signs to see, oh, I'm on my way to Wall Drugstore. Like, this is real estate that is so valuable, and it is 100% blank.
Yeah, I understand. I get it.
You're changing that today.
Indeed.
Yeah.
gotta
And
change that
what
today.
if in a year you had a couple thousand friends, and they all knew what you did, and they know someone who knows someone. And I mean, you just never know, but they're on Facebook.
But scroll down if you would.
Yeah.
So there, I definitely want to update, come back up to the section above the pictures. There you go. So I've got to update this intro piece, definitely.
Yeah. So
And
people-
all my pictures are personal, every single one.
okay. And I'll say this, like, I love the name, and I did check out your LinkedIn, so I have some context, but if I don't have context, I don't know what that means. And I might even think you're a fitness instructor, because I literally don't know what it means. So you've got to give some context somehow, some way about what you do.
You're talking about my company name?
Yes. Yeah, you just need context around it, because right now that's all I can see is.
Right.
you're the
So I
president
didn't
of
care.
So give context in that description. Think of ways so people very clearly understand what you do.
Got it.
I want to just say, that expression, pick the low hanging fruit, and you'll have a magnificent lunch basket. If you are someone who feels a little bit like a well-kept secret, and that you've been flying under the radar, and you may be thinking, maybe it's time for me to get more visible, this is something you can do today that would alert the media, alert everyone what you do and where you do it. Because sometimes people, they're so self-interested that they don't even pay, they don't even pay attention. But you want to grow your business, Barb. That's your
Yes.
number one priority.
Yep.
I want to see a banner in that space as soon as possible. And I also suggest, because you have these beautiful headshots that look more like you are today, and this picture looks like I see bare shoulders. Is that what I'm seeing?
Yeah. I mean, that little corner of my, I mean, because again, I always thought of this as a personal page, and that picture is ancient.
So
Yeah,
I want that.
now
I want that updated as soon as possible.
Sure.
And what I can, when I asked yesterday, okay, do my thing. And then I tried to make some changes, and I already see from what you've presented today that there are considerably more changes that have to be made.
Yeah.
Pretty
Because I
picture.
change my banners based on the season. So,
How does that help your business?
it doesn't. That's why
No.
I just,
Well, now you guys know, you're learning things. Now
Yeah.
you know that like Facebook actually can and should be utilized as a business storefront. So I liked what Nancy was talking about driving down the road. These banners are literally the sign over the front door of your business.
yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
Because if you go to my business page, The Right Resort, you will see my website banner.
But see, I can't see what you even do. This
Well,
is really
yeah,
strange.
because no,
Yeah.
that's why we're doing this. So it's
Yes, exactly.
of
So
all
look at all
areas.
the opportunity you guys have. That's what's so fun.
Yeah,
you know?
no, you've already helped me see.
There's
Oh,
lots of opportunity.
mhm,
Lots of opportunity.
mhm.
So yeah, if I know what you do, why you do it, and then if you're starting to post about that, I don't think we're friends. I message requested you. I mean, friend requested you.
We just became friends.
Okay, good. Maybe I can. I don't think it's showing me everything. There we go. But yeah, you need to be posting because I don't see any. I think it's just not content. So beef this up, and you guys just look at mine if you want to like follow an example, like what you do. Just go check it out. But literally, a lot of what you're already, a lot of the podcast you're already doing. There's so many tricks, you guys. One trick, I mean, I could go on and on. I'm gonna have to leave in like a few minutes. But if you're doing a lot of talking on Zoom for a podcast or teaching or anything, there is an app called Otter, and it will transcribe everything you say. You can take that transcription and create content from it. That's called repurposing. So
should I take all my personal pictures off?
no, don't touch anything. Just start changing things around. And people are like, wow, Barbara, people go, did you start a new business? Like, are you kidding? I've been doing this for, because
That's funny.
when Craig
Yeah.
Lauder changed his LinkedIn profile banner to be something to showcase his new book, he got 8 conversations on the calendar from people who were excited to talk to him. So glad we're looking at Joe here. Yeah, good.
So Joe has a cover. Yay, Joe. So that's
Awesome.
great. And now that you've seen this, and I know, what's your gal that works with you? What's her-
Holly,
Holly,
Holly.
she's great. Hi, Holly. I know she's gonna watch this in, after. So now you can go in and really beef up your intro. Maybe you want it. It doesn't have to be a freebie. It could just be like the kicker thing on why people should follow you back. I mean, you can do whatever you want here. But I love that you have a cover. I would suggest adding some color to it.
Oops.
It works when you scale, but I think some color would be nice because on my screen, it's just kind of like blah. So maybe some color and maybe a call to action to get your really cool, juicy, because it's really great freebie with the link thing and edit that, go there. You can edit this photo, edit that, whatever, to get your description in there. I can't do it 'cause I'm not you. And then on the about, like, have things that talk about your business, what you do, like make sure it's as optimized as possible so people see this and they're like, oh yeah. And you can link your other social media accounts and drop those in there and start posting relevant content in a very water cooler style, which talking to you directly is your style.
Mhm.
You can just take something. I mean, you literally could transcribe one of your coaching calls and just transcribe the parts you're saying that, like, that was a juicy nugget. And you could just write a little piece from that.
Yep.
And I'll tell you another trick, and then I do have to go. I'm actually going to start doing this to test it. I'm going to start recording myself on my coaching calls like this, just with this little thing. And use some of that actual video of me talking, like not directly at camera, on videos for Instagram and Facebook. I'm going to test it, but I've seen creators do this and I think it's smart. It's like doing less work and having more visibility.
Thanks.
So I want to I know you have to go, and I know it's such a great honor and gift to all of us that you would come and share these insights with us. For those of you who play on LinkedIn primarily, more so than Facebook, I think it's fair to say that if you haven't looked at your cover image on LinkedIn, you should look at it today and make sure it's aligned and congruent with what you do and who you do it for. I think you should look to see that the first things that people see are aligned and congruent with what you do and who you do it for and what you want them to do. And when you post, be the human being you most want to attract in your life. Like, be the human being you most want to attract, and remember that you are here to do business. Don't be shy about the fact that you're here to do business. And that because if you're being shy about the fact that you do business, could it be that there's shy opportunity in your queue waiting to do business with you? What you think about, you bring about. So don't be shy and ask for what you want. Any parting thoughts as you wrap up for today, Debbie?
I would just say that when you look at people that are doing really well online, they're showing up in multiple places. They're not just on one platform. And I do recommend owning one platform before you start figuring out. But if you're already on Facebook, why not optimize it? Why not take a couple of the same things and just, pop it in there? So yeah, it's all about visibility. So this allows you to be more visible.
And I would be remiss if I did not say that Debbie is leading the Lighthouse Effect webinar 2-day workshop, May 2nd and 3rd. Please do yourself a favor and show up for this 2-day workshop, because if you liked what you benefited from today, well, that's a 2-day deep dive that will give you even greater insight, and it's free to participate. But you know what? She's going to drop a lot of value, and chances are, if the value is resonating, there's a lot more power under the tent over there for you and others to benefit. So I hope that you will participate in the Lighthouse Brand Workshop, because that is her signature event. That is one of the reasons that she's running a multiple 6-figure business. She does conversion events regularly and does not apologize for it.
Debbie, put the registration link in the chat real fast, okay?
Yes.
I enrolled in it already, so I can't wait.
That's what I like to see.
Long link, it's open. Not usually that long, but I just had to grab one because I got to go teach now in my group.
Well, thank you, Debbie, so much.
Thank you, Nancy. And I'd love to see
Good
you.
stuff. Thank you.
You're
Yeah,
so
we're
welcome.
doing the
Yeah,
wave for you, and
thank you.
so
Okay.
Thanks, Debbie. Good stuff.
next thing.
Thanks a bunch,
We'll
everybody.
see
I'll
you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
I need to bounce too. So thank you so much. This has
Thank you
been
for
so
being here. Rock your call.
Thank you.
And take Vicky's storytelling class.
There are experts among us here in the Broadcaster Brilliance Boot Camp, and I hope that I'm just going to do a little, check in. Like, how was that for y'all?
Well, like I said yesterday, when, I volunteered, I started doing a few things, but it was extremely helpful. And because I do have a separate The Right Resort page, and I used to post on it fairly regularly, go back and forth, but to use my main page as a business page and to promote what I do business wise on my page is Facebook page, because I'm active on it every day, and I could use it so much more strategically in terms of promoting what I do, inviting people to participate. I did a Facebook Live a couple of weeks ago, and a lot of people responded. They didn't follow up to get a guidance session, but they responded to me speaking on Facebook, for less than, maybe 3 or 4 minutes. And that was a wake-up call for me. So I appreciate what she's demonstrated to us about how we can expand our reach with something that people, and her thing on Instagram, because I have an Instagram account, but I don't use it, but I get a lot of stuff from Instagram, and it's quick, visual, and entertaining primarily.
So for you, Harriet, I want to say that Debbie said, optimize Facebook first before you go elsewhere. And so whatever you learn today, I would encourage you to optimize Facebook, both your personal and your business, and start noticing the degree to which people like, heart, share, engage. Because you know something? When people start commenting on your posts and start engaging, and you have a dialogue going, that is also an expression of interest that you've got somebody paying attention to what you do. So you often hear about people saying, DM me, send me a private message. You've heard these terms before. If somebody is really engaging with you publicly on your page, you can say, hey, let's have a private chat. Let's connect offline, or let's continue this in a deeper way, because those people are already engaging. They're already engaging. And you know what? When you engage with people that are engaged with you, it could very well be that you could guide them down the path to want to do business with you. And wouldn't that be a good outcome? Right? Joe's hand is up.
Yeah, isn't it amazing that as soon as Debbie leaves, you think of the questions? How does that work? But I'll put it in the question. Here's the context of what I've coached on for years, and I primarily used LinkedIn until I got Holly and started the Facebook. But I deliberately would use LinkedIn as a referral source or as a lead for to get a hot list. So I kept all of my contacts. People would friend me all the time. Unless I was going to have a conversation with them, I would not accept them on LinkedIn. And if they're just out of the random, because I wanted people to say, all my contacts are people I knew, and I wanted to keep it kind of at a high level. Realize that thinking may have been wrong, but that's where it started. So when I'm on Facebook, I'm just kind of almost accepting darn near everybody, just because you want to grow that number. So I've migrated from that part. My question was, and maybe you don't know it, but maybe Debbie would, is there a way to import contacts from LinkedIn into Facebook or from Outlook into Facebook?
I don't think
I
so.
don't think so. But Joe, I would recommend you start adding more contacts to LinkedIn, even if you don't know them.
I mean, I was a referral mindset, and I get it. That was years ago. I started, I just never stopped. So I'm fine with that.
You're fine with just leaving it the way it is? Is that
No,
what you're saying?
changing. No,
Yeah.
I'm changing it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's just how it was.
Yeah, I mean,
Now,
what
there was a post that I put in the Facebook group that I wanted to draw your attention to because it's taking a moment to allow me to respond. So okay, here we go. Right here. Have you ever conducted a social media audit to determine the effectiveness of what you are doing? Is there a method to your posts? This post offers some insights, and it says how to run the easiest social media audit. And I highly recommend that everybody read this. It was from Hootsuite, which is one of the major providers of social media posting automation.
Yep.
But if it's like I said at the start of the call, sometimes people I'm going to quote Maya Angelou, when you know better, you do better. Sometimes we just randomly do things because it feels good at the time, but maybe there's no method to the madness. So if you actually go through this article, you should be able to look at your own profiles and find out where you're playing the best, what your audience wants to see, how each of these platforms achieves your goals. And it takes you through this whole process. And sometimes people say, oh, I'm so busy. I have so many things to do. They're busying themselves with administrivia instead of strategic, thoughtful posts that help you accomplish big strategic objectives that will ring the shopping cart. And I just wanted to wake you up to the fact that there are tools and resources and assets hiding in plain sight that if you just made a few little tweaks, you could find that you would be getting more referrals, more introductions, more engagement. Sometimes what I will do, and I did a fair amount of this while I was in Tucson, I would go to my social media profile and I would ask myself, if I didn't know me and I landed on my page, would I like me? Do I like the story that I'm telling? Am I optimistic and upbeat and delivering value? Like I ask myself that, is this going to be a value? Am I delivering value? Is there an insight here? Am I being of service? And am I wowing you in some way? Because if I can do that with every post, I feel like that's aligned and congruent with how I want to work with people, and people will get that feeling. But if you don't have a method to your madness, you're in big trouble. Another specific example, I mean, one of my goals is to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. I have 802 subscribers on YouTube. When I get to 1,000 subscribers, I'm at the position where I could be able to monetize from my YouTube channel, and I want to monetize from my YouTube channel. So how am I getting new subscribers? I'm asking for them. And I'm not just saying, hey, help a sister out. I'm saying this was one of the most popular podcasts that I ever did. And the bio at the top of this call was worth the price of admission. Won't you please tune in and get the value? And if you love the value, won't you please subscribe? I'm letting people know this is of value to you and why you should listen. And I'm telling them what I want them to do. It's wow, wow, wink is what I learned from a person whose name is Marusha Murphy. She's an expert in building communities. You want to wow them twice, and then you wink because you're inviting them to do that thing you want them to do. Wow, this is a great episode. The first 10 minutes is worth the price of admission. If you love it, won't you please subscribe? Wow, wow, wink. So when you're looking at the things that you post, are you putting in 2 wows before you wink? It's a fun way to remember what to do and how to do it, because otherwise you've got a really random approach to doing whatever you're doing. So what else is coming up for y'all? How are you, Diana? Did you learn anything from this?
Yeah, you know what I loved about, LinkedIn is really my the place where I want to spend more time because that's where my ideal clients are. But the reminder that when people are checking you out, they're coming to you know, they're looking, God knows where they're going to look, right?
Barbara, hold on,
So you just, you don't, you know,
hold on, hold on.
yeah,
So let's
Yeah.
just check you out on LinkedIn. Let's just apply some of the lessons
Okay,
we learned
who's
from
this?
Debbie. Do we know what you do? Are you using your banner? Business book partners, from the spark of concept to your best-selling book, without overwhelm, confusion, or wasted time. That's nice. I like it. Marketing strategist, marketing consultant, best-selling author, professional speaker. Are you also a book?
Calling the Antioch Costco. To reach the administrative staff,
I'm hearing
press 1.
something.
For warehouse hours, directions, and
Is
holidays.
there somebody
and
doing
press
something on
2.
Antioch
For
College or
information on
something?
membership or return, press 3. To reach the pharmacy,
Am I the
press
only one
4.
that's hearing
For
that?
all other departments,
I can
press
hear it.
5. To reach the administrative staff.
Is somebody on the
That's-
telephone? Oh, that's better. Okay, so Diana, you might want to look at this.
it needs a total overhaul.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but you know, what I really, one of the things I took away from what she just shared is how important it is, because I've kind of let my business page on Facebook, I build it up, and you know, because Facebook is pay to play sort of thing on the business side, I sort of kind of abandoned it. So yeah, now that my brain is clearing a little bit from all the other things that have been going on in my world, I'm thinking about, you know, what do I need to do here? So yeah, but my banner on Facebook does have an image and does have a call to action, and the call to actions to my Facebook group. So I have done some of the things she shared on Facebook.
Very good. Joe, I think it's time to redo this banner to include your free gift. I can turn that around for you straight away because your free gift could be listed. When we created this, it was a quick and dirty, let's get it done real fast kind of thing. And so for those of you who are wondering how quick and easy can it be, I'm just going to go to Canva, and hopefully it's going to let me in and I'm not going to run into any kind of trouble. Oh, I'm in my, I knew that was going to happen. So by the end of today, Joe, you're going to have a new banner, and I'm going to send it to Holly and she's going to put it up here. But I want you to have, I mean, it's just a matter of going into my professional Canva account and adding, go here to get blah, blah, blah. But I'll bet you that's going to be real helpful.
Awesome. I think it's funny. You just don't even send it to me anymore. Just write to Holly. That's funny. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, you know, 8 or 12 weeks ago when we started our work together, you didn't have anything here. And I said, let's create something so at least people know what you're up about. But you didn't have a free gift, but now you do have one. And let's make sure it's showing up here. Let's take a look at Harriet Tubman Wright. I guess we're not friends yet on Facebook. Are you on LinkedIn, Harriet?
Yes, I'm on LinkedIn as Harriet Wright.
Oh, I see. Okay. Okay, there you are. Oh yeah, you've got your free, we did this together.
Yes.
Attention change makers, download your guide. This is where you can go to get it. Ask about VIP days. You know, this I think is nicely done. But there's always more to do, right? But at least you're clear, right?
Yeah, they keep asking me to do my profile, which not my profile, but the thing that says, oh, you did this, all these dates of stuff you've done before. And I don't, you know, I haven't taken time to do that. The about me is, you know, anyway. There's always room for improvement. And, you know, I used to do articles fairly regularly, and I would put these articles on my Facebook business page, but Facebook changed something, and I will ask how I can go back and forth between my personal page and my business page. But I've always been told by other people as well that the personal page is where the action is. And
Yep.
that's what Debbie demonstrated this morning.
I'm just being real transparent here. I'm just on the heels of a bestseller campaign. So my banner shows the reviews and the fact that my name was mentioned in them. And I thought that was pretty cool. In my featured, I have the keynote that I'm the most proud of. I have some of my best interviews that I've ever done that I feel best represent me. But it says here, I don't know if you can see it. Post impressions in the past 7 days, 417. The percentage has been 43.3% higher in the last 7 days. That's pretty awesome. People are participating. So if I go to my posts and activity, and I look at my posts, getting back to the, are people paying attention to your posts? I think you should notice this. I noticed on everywhere I was that people were posting about artificial intelligence and Chat GPT. And when I discovered that 60 Minutes was covering it, the TV show on Channel 7 in the United, I thought, oh my God, I better tell people. And so that was of service. 296 impressions so far, and a comment from Barbara Spector. I like that. Okay, 296. Here I'm sending joy from a sunny place, 163 impressions. More than 100 people are paying attention. 65 impressions on this one, 106 impressions on this next one, 442 impressions. Together with a crew of 5 inspired experts, we got to bestseller, and I tagged a couple of people, and then I put some hashtags in here that were relevant. 422. When you put in hashtags and you tag other people, you improve the likelihood that people will pay attention to your posts. Just going through here, 129 impressions. This is all book launch stuff. This was women's, what do you call it? Women's International Women's Day, 392. So what I think to myself is, can I get hundreds and hundreds of people looking at my posts? Like, look at this one. This one blew my mind. When I gave the talk and I captured this image and I put these hashtags in about what it is that I talked about, 1,313 impressions. Like, people were noticing. So what I wanted to do today was to just simply let you know that if you have a method to your madness when you post and you're clear about what you want to have happen, you can invite more of the action that you want. And each one of you in your own way has an action item to take based on what you learned so far. And I hope that between now and the end of this week, your banners will be updated, your profiles will be updated, and that you'll be really crystal clear about what you want people to do. Because for most of you, you have brand new free gifts. Your challenge, should you choose to accept it, is to have 300 or more people opt in to get that as soon as possible.
Yeah.
What will you do to make that happen? Because when you have 300 people on your list, that's enough people to stage a webinar or a 2-day masterclass or invite to your, a lot of these people, like, you can do a virtual event whenever you want. If you're going to do a live event in a real place with real people, the geography piece is something to be considered. You know, like Joe's thinking about doing a live event in Seattle in July. You want to have a lot of people in your world who are from Seattle, because if everybody you know is in Minnesota, are they going to be willing to buy a plane ticket to go to Seattle? I think they should, because you're worth every penny. But likelihood is that if you can make friends with people in the Pacific Northwest to fill your room, it's going to be a lot easier to fill the room. So let's do a little round robin. Like Joe, you've had some success with podcasting. Holly posted earlier, you've got 11 booked and more on the way, right?
Yeah, she's doing fantastic. I get an email saying, are you interested in this one? And she screens them before she does all the prep work or sends them the video, sends them a little introduction saying, we'd like to be on your show. It's all stuff that she got from you. And then she calls or she says, okay, we have these times open. I say yes, then she fills out the application, we do it. And then the week before, she sends me, here's the podcast, here's the link, here's a couple of shows I thought you might like to watch, and here's the questions. So it's cake for me. It's complete cake. Because I'm not going to do the cringe, as you know, Nancy, but and then afterwards, she'll do the follow-up piece, and then she does the posting on Facebook and wherever else and sharing. So we've done I think 3 so far. I've got another one today. I've got one tomorrow, one next week. I think she's got 2 next week. And then I think we have 2 pre-interviews where they want to have 15 minutes just to see if I'm normal, don't have horns come out of my head, but to be on the show. We have 2 of those calls. And then we have 4 or 5 more that are just waiting until I'm timing it to be on the show when they have the launch. When the book is going to be launching, and both of them said they'll accept it. One, I paid $90 to jump the line to get it timed when I want. So I have those set up whenever I want to turn them on. I can do those, but it's been going good. She's just
Great.
Someone taught her really well. It wasn't me, but someone taught her really well.
Well, it's really cool when clients decide to bring their assistants along, because many hands make light work. And my hope is that when I teach this the next time, people will make the choice to have their assistants come along, because now Holly has a whole new skill set that she didn't have before, and she can monetize that. And so for those of you who haven't been getting around to booking as many calls as you would have hoped, Holly is, I believe, looking for new clients that she can take on to represent, to get calls on the calendar. And you might reach out to her and see how she can support you. I know Joe is her primary emphasis, but I can see synergy with Barbara and Craig, because you're all in the selling space, and she's putting her laser focus on getting on shows that are relevant to the selling space. And so between the 3 of you, Barbara, Joe, and Craig, if Holly was representing you, it's just like, well, not only do I have Joe, but I also have Barbara and Craig, because each of you has something different to say. Yeah, I can see how that would be very efficient. So you can
I love it.
You can pursue that directly with her, because that now she's trained. But what if in the next cohort, everybody that joined as a principal brought their assistant along? Like, oh my God, we could change the world.
Hey, Joe, could you put into chat how to reach Holly?
Just reach me. She's my niece. Just reach me.
Oh,
So
okay.
I can talk. I can forward her contact. I know Craig has mentioned some interest. Tim Wade has mentioned some interest, and Holly's open to it. But like I said, she's trained and she knows it and she likes doing it. So
Cool. Yeah, and our business is different enough that it's really there's no competition. It's just complementary. It's great.
well, if I'm a podcast guest, I have one. Well, I was going to mention this. Kim and Nancy, I sent you the email on her. I did the podcast, and afterwards we're in the green room, and I said, "Hey, just curious, how did I do?" Just some feedback. This is my 3rd podcast. She goes, "Wow, that was really good." I said, "Well, I was trained." I said, "Have you know Nancy?" She said, "No." I said, "Well, I'll introduce you, but she runs a class where she trains people to do pretty much what I did. And here's 2 names. I think I mentioned your name, Barbara, and Craig's, that are people that are in sales that you may want to reach out to." So
Cool.
I will follow up with her today. Thank you so much. That's such a fine compliment when people compliment you on your podcast guesting, and then they are curious, where did you learn how to do that? I mean, if I can be the person that's name comes up all the time, that would be really great. Because part of the thrill for me is, it's that old adage, if you teach someone how to fish, they'll never be hungry again. I mean, I feel like I'm teaching people how to never be hungry for an audience ever again. And once you master this skill, it's something you'll own for the rest of your life, and be able to turn on and off at will, depending on the volume of new leads that you require to keep your business up and running and doing great. So congratulations, Joe, on all the bookings and rocking it. I wanted to mention something too. You're an excellent speaker, and you're easy to talk to, and you have the water cooler thing down really well. You're so likable. In Toastmasters, we learn about filler words like and so. And if I were to offer one little suggestion for you, Joe, is to watch the ums.
Yep.
Watch
Thank
the
you.
ums. And you might even put a little rubber band around your wrist.
And snap it.
When you listen back to your performances and your conversations, you're always likable, you're always engaging, you're always on the money, but sometimes there's a number of ums in there, and it would be even more music to the ear without them.
Got it. Thank you.
I've had this conversation with my husband, because you spend more time with your husband or partner than you do with anyone else, and I say, honey, got to work on that. What other comments, questions, or wins can you share? Go ahead, Barbara.
So I'm up to seven scheduled podcasts, and one of the ones I had, which has not been published, I keep calling it published. What is it? Broadcast? Is that the right word?
Dropped, released.
He wanted to have a second meeting with me, which we did last week, and it turned out that his business is tremendously synergistic, complementary in terms of what he's with mine. So we're not only going to become referral partners for each other, but we might end up doing a webinar together.
Oh,
yeah. So that was great. And really easy, wonderful person to talk to.
that's fabulous.
Yeah. So who knows what'll come out of that, but I thought for me that was a tremendous win. Because he wanted to show me his solution. I'll call it a solution. And it's all about getting CEOs to not have to work in their business, but rather work on it, right? And take away all of the tactical stuff and put it all into this platform, so that as a CEO, the CEO knows exactly where they are in terms of marketing and operations and so on and so forth. And because of the way the platform is designed, the piece that he didn't have was all around the sales engine, the sales department. So it was like both of us are going.
It's so exciting when real relationships take shape through the long form conversation of a podcast. And what many people, the biggest wins they welcome from podcast guesting is these kinds of collaborations and joint ventures that happen when the microphone goes silent, when you realize you should be doing business together, you should be collaborating in some bigger way, and bam, congratulations, Barb. That's fabulous.
Yeah, thank you. And I want to get to the magic number 12. I might need some help from Holly to get that done, but we'll see. I was also away all last week, could get no business done at all. So,
well, sometimes real life is like that. And
yep.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because Joe's got 11, you've got 7. Next week is the 12th week. So if you're the least bit competitive, now would be the time to put the pedal to the metal to make sure that you get it. And then there's something you said, Barb, that I wanted just to call out. Who knows what that's going to look like, but I'm excited about it. Get real intentional about what it could look like and what would be the biggest win for you. Get real intentional about it, because what you intend often manifests. What you think
absolutely
about, you bring about, and go as premium as possible with whatever it is that you create. Because something that one of my other clients was revealing earlier today is that she has a premium program, but she's been inviting people into a much lower cost thing.
Mm-hmm.
her philosophy was if I could get people into the lower cost thing, that I could get them to ascend to the next highest level based on the awesomeness that happened during that engagement. And what she's discovering is that the people that are doing the lower ticket thing don't have the resources to ascend.
Right.
And so think about the highest and best way that you can serve your ideal client and assign a really good value to it. So those who say yes to it will get the value, they'll get the transformation, the value will be exchanged, you'll make more money. And this believing that people will ascend, I don't know if anybody else has that experience where people start low and go high. I mean, do you have an experience with that, Joe?
Yeah, and that's kind of why I start high. And the weird part is I'm going low, I'm going with more masses, different product. There also is a piece that falls aligned with that it is hard to jump people up. Or if some of my engagements I've had, the employer pay for half the cost. They pay $750, and then the individual coaching pays $750, and they'll do that for a year. And then the employer says, okay, my part's done. You can go to the individual and collect the other $750, low conversion rate on that. So I don't do that anymore. I thought I'm gonna, whatever it's gonna start with, it's gonna be that piece. And then the same part is, even if I've got to upsell people, I don't do that. I'd roll people. I said that when I talk to people, it's a 12-month engagement, and then it rolls month to month. And I don't have any discussion that ever on. It's just assumptive. They have to tell me they're not going to be in for month 13, and it really doesn't happen. So it's just being that assumptive with that piece.
Yep, great. Oh, by the way, I've got a second meeting with this guy. He wants to see my work too, so that'll keep growing.
Artie, congrats. That's really great.
Yeah, that's really good. You know, I'm just, you know, Joe coaches me on selling, and I coach him in a lot of other ways too. And I'm starting to hear this message about the 12-month engagement and then rolling to month. And I'm listening to that with fresh ears because
Good.
I was just having a conversation with someone else. I mean, I'll just share this. I mean, I'm just going to be very transparent because that's the kind of group we are, right? I like a 3-month engagement because in 3 months, I can really make a lot of magic happen for someone, and the client can get a great value and a good result. And we can discover together that we really like each other and that it feels really great to continue. But I like it when people come to the 4th month and say, can I please renew? I love this so much. I want to keep going. Because sometimes 3 months will come and I don't want to continue because the person didn't do their work, or, you know, it's like, and so I'm trying to ask myself, is that, I learned that whole thing about making mindful choices at Miraval Resort and Spa, where, you know, will you be having bread with your meal, Mrs. Juetten? No, thank you, but thanks for asking. Like, make a mindful choice. Do you want the bread on your plate or not? Make a decision. And so, like, this 3-month make a mindful choice thing is something that I've kind of grown attached to. And I'm just asking myself if I should revisit the attachment that I have to that, because what you're saying, Joe, is that people come on for 12 months and have a great experience and then they just stay.
I also think, Nancy, apropos, is that it depends on your business too, because some processes require a much longer period of time. Now, I love that you do the 3 months. I think it's great, but if you have a product that clearly requires sticking around longer, go for it.
So, Joe, do you ever get, I mean, I hate to put you on the spot, but I'm going to anyway. Do you ever have someone come under the tent for the 12-month engagement where 3 months in, you think to yourself, I can't deal with the 9 more months of this?
No, I've had those clients, but and I will not engage. But I look at it too, like, kind of goes hand in hand with this, that my business is 100% referral based. And these people know me, they know what I do, they trust me, they're gonna refer me to people at the right level. So I eliminate a lot of headaches that way, but my first phone call, in my mind, it's a very focused phone call. The whole value of the contract or the agreement, 18,000. That's how much focus I put onto that first call to see if I want to work with this person. And if I don't, I'm not going to close them. So I really have a high level of doing that. And because of that, I really, right now, all my clients, they all fit in the box.
So is this like part of your onboarding process that Tim Wade made reference to, where
yes,
you make clear you will show up, you
expectation.
will provide notice, you will be ready to go, that sort of thing?
That's bundled into it, yeah. And then I follow that up with what I call the critical question. I go through my expectations. These are things you can count on me to do. Then I say, here's some things I like to be able to count on you to do. Go through them with detail so we have a real clear understanding. Ask them if they want to add anything, because it's a two-way street. And then I'll say the critical question. I'll say, well, just hypothetically, Nancy, and if you remember, I probably said this to you. Hypothetically, maybe 6 weeks down the road, maybe 6 months, maybe 6 years down the road. What should I say, or what should I do if you're not doing something you said you were going to do?
Perfect.
And then whatever they say, what else? Because I need that permission to hold them accountable. So
Good
those
one.
things do bundle in, and it kind of cleans it out. But I mean, I've had people been with me for 7, 8 years, and I'm kind of tired of coaching them. They're great friends. But it's one of those things that I don't believe you're ever really get done. Like, when am I done being a good father? When am I done being a good Christian? It never happens. When am I done being a good leader? So I have that longevity piece, but I really, I hear what you're saying, but I just don't see it. And maybe it's just because of the referrals and how I get referrals and the relationship I have, that it's birds of a feather. I'm shooting fish in a barrel with clients I like.
I love that. Isn't that a perspective shifter? Thank you so much for sharing that.
I appreciate you sharing that as well, because there were some light bulbs going off. Let me report a couple of things related to that, because when this I watched Nancy's one day thing that was introducing this program, and I immediately called Vicky, and well, and she said, well, I continue to work with Nancy because she continues to provide value. So I've gone well beyond that. I'm going through the next 3 months and the next 3 months. And so that was something that helped me make a decision in terms, and the idea of having a Holly. Vicky has a Jennifer, and so now I'm working with Jennifer. And I have 9. I have 9 booked so far.
Great.
I'm going to be talking with one of her referrals, Dr. Joe, that's scheduled today. It's interesting, I've been making a list of everything that I've learning with this, and it can be, you can do this, your interview on January 1st. It might be April 30th before it's shown. And that's a helpful thing to know, that there can be a long time before it's shown. And then, of course, your host expects you to promote it with your people. And if it's a short 30-minute kind of thing, then I'm comfortable with that. When it gets a little bit longer, my thinking is people are not going to listen to all of this, and I'm more hesitant to post it. And what I'm making a change in my website, I do have a speaking section and I have something podcast, but I'm going to have my person begin putting these podcasts on my YouTube channel and just start getting them out there. And I can say, when I do a Facebook Live, that's really, people really respond to it. So it's been great feedback.
Excellent. Excellent. How are things going with you, Diana?
Well, this conversation brought up something that I thought I would, if it's okay, like share with the group, the power of collaboration. So this was a few years ago. I was actually at a a New Year's Day brunch, which was a social thing. And I met somebody that I'd never met before, and we struck up a conversation. And before she left, she said, "Can I get your business card?" And I dug through, found my purse and gave her my business card. She said, "There's somebody I want to introduce you to." Well, she introduced me to somebody who runs paid writing groups, where people that are serious about writing, not all of them are writing books, but they're serious. They're writing something, their dissertation, like they're writing something, and they pay to be part of her writing circles to get critique. And so I'm like, well, that's a pretty cool idea. So the woman that runs this, she and I set up a Zoom call, and the first thing she said was, "Can you walk me through your process with authors?" So I did. And she said, "Well, here's the thing. I've got people that are writing a book, and we get through all the critique and we help them get their, like they get feedback from the group as well as from me. And then they say, well, now what am I supposed to do with it? That is not my bailiwick. That is not what I do. So here's what I'd like for us to do. Would you be willing to come on a Zoom call and role play with one of the people that's writing a book right now? She can ask you her questions. You can ask your questions, and we're just going to watch, and I'm going to call it the Book Shepherd in action."
Wow.
And I'm like,
Is
no,
that Judith Briles?
no,
Oh,
this lady is like local to me, and she's an ex-IBM executive, and she's amazing. But let me just tell you what happened from that. So I connected with this author, who is the author of this book, The Sudden Caregiver, right? And we had a great so I knew what she was writing about before we went into this thing. But then she went silent. And, I was just like, oh, I would so love to work with her, right? And so I reached back out to the lady that was running the writing groups, and I said, "Oh, by the way, have you talked to Karen?" I just kind of lost. She goes, "Oh, she'll be back. She's got some other things going on in her life right now, but anyway, she'll be back." And I'm like, well, okay. So anyway, long story short, from that one, this was, again, a New Year's Day. Excuse me a second. Let me get some water. Oh, social event. I got $30,000 of business from that one connection that year.
Yay.
And then so I was just sitting here thinking about, so one of the people was, I thought was watching the launch of somebody else that was in this group. And I said, we talked, and she kind of went out of communication. And I was thinking, okay, well, she's waiting to see what happens with this person's launch before she knows that I know what I'm doing over here. Come to find out, after we launched her book, she did a video testimonial for me. And it was I never knew this, but what she said in the video testimonial is, I talked to Diana, and then I talked to other publishers, and I talked to people in Canada, and she's in another country. And I kept coming back to, she's the only person that asked me, why am I writing this book? And what's the outcome I really want? Everybody else sent me to a website, sent me a brochure, but I kept coming back to, she asked me, why are you writing this, and what's the result that you want? I didn't know that that's why she was taking time. This is her book. Be Fearless. It is her story of growing up in the slums of Nigeria and how she got to bartering $1 million deals at the biggest telecommunications company in the country.
wow.
She's now the head of sales for Meta in Southeast Asia.
Wow.
That's the caliber of people. Like, this is the caliber of people that work in this, they're in this paid writing program.
Wow.
So I can count, I was just like thinking, okay, I can count at least 6 clients that came from that. 30,000 came from that year, but I've had at least 6 clients that came from that one connection. And then the lady that runs the group came back to me a year and a half or so ago now, and she goes, you know what? Every time somebody asks about they're writing a book, I feel as if I can't personally tell them what it's like to work with you because I've never worked with you. So I send them to Karen and let Karen like talk to you. Would you accept me as a client so that I can have that experience? And so we launched her book right after I went to Texas to take care of my mom last year. And so she's had that experience. And so I'm in the process right now reconnecting with her because, again, she's local. So we can have an eyeball to eyeball conversation about everything that's happened since we launched her book, because I was sort of out of communication for a while. But anyway, I hope that was like one connection can lead to so many things.
Brava, brava, brava.
And it's
So
like I don't
true.
think about that very often, but it's just an example of, Barbara, you were talking about this connection. What can happen? I didn't even know this woman was local. I had no idea who she was. And I even asked her, like, who else do you, okay, so here, ding, 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 like this is a good referral partner for me, right? So I started asking her, like, who else does what you do? Like who hosts these paid, writing things? And she said, I'm not aware of anybody else that does this. I just do it because I saw a need for it. And I've got a, she's really big into positive psychology from Penn. They all kind of hang together. All of them kind of came through that program. So they're higher level clients. And it's been an amazing relationship.
I'm so glad you shared that, because it sort of like puts a pin in the whole thing that we did here today, because Debbie was starting the call today with this whole idea that if we connect with people the way people want to be connected with in a human conversation around the water cooler, that people will be attracted to us online. And what you're saying is if you go to a social event where you're actually with real people, heartbeats in the same room, and you connect with people as a human being over the hors d'oeuvres or whatever, that you can find that needle in a haystack and create a conversation that can turn into real business. And I think that one of the things that those who want to scale up and deal with millions sometimes forget is they'll say it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Well, I would disagree. I think quality over quantity is the answer. And one of the things about Diana that I think is crystal clear is she said multiple times, I'm looking for epic right fit clients. Epic right fit clients or bust. She doesn't want to have people that are not fully committed to what their book is and what their mission is, like, and you're attracting those kinds of people. Now, when I said something, Joe made I couldn't help but notice your expression about the quality over the quantity. You made something on your face. You want to chime in and comment?
Yeah, it speaks to, Diana, how you run your business. It's a relationship. You can have quantity all you want. I don't care about that. It's the relationship. How much of an impact you can have on someone else. That's what drives me. That's what fires me up. So in fact that you had that individual come back to you and say, I'm referring you, but I've never experienced you. I want to, I need to. Huge, huge testimonial for you. Nice work. Well done.
Yeah, I just sent her another, she said, I reached out, there's kind of a funny thing. I reached out to her and I said, hey, I've been out of communication. I apologize about that. I'd love to know like what's happened since we launched your book, which was like last April. And she goes, you know what? I've been thinking about you too. Every time I look down at my desk, I've got this autographed copy of the book. I want to give it to you. And so I want to connect with her over lunch. So I sent her I gave her some open dates and she didn't respond. So I pinged back out and said, hey, I'm still open on Friday. If you are, like, let's get together over lunch. So all those things just parlay together. And it only takes, I just told you like what happened in that year about, with that, and there's still introductions happening.
Well, I want to piggyback on that because this is something I wanted to share about relationships. y'all know that I've been friends with Henry DeVries for over 30 years. He's a columnist for Forbes.com, and he has a company called Indie Books International. Our history is very rich. And it's a relationship that we've nurtured over time. So a couple of weeks ago, I was talking to one of my clients who's in this program but isn't able to attend because he's in Australia, and who knows what time it is in Australia. but he's written this book called Building a Winning Career. And I asked him, where do you want this book to be seen? And he said, well, I'd really like to be seen in Forbes. And I'd really like to be in the Wall Street Journal. And I'd really like to be in the Reader's Digest. And I said, okay, well, I know someone who writes for Forbes. How about right now during the call, I write an introduction for you and the person I know who writes for Forbes, and we'll do it right here while we're on the call. So while I was on the call, I say, and I'm using some things here that I've learned from Joe about silver bullets. I'm pleased to make this introduction. Henry DeVries is one of my longest standing and most favorite business colleagues and mentors. He's the CEO of and the author of, columnist for, and someone who is doing all these cool things. Oh, by the way, Henry trained at Harvard for his executive MBA and is smarter than a whip. His stories about chicken always make me laugh. Be sure to ask him about that. So I'm demonstrating that I know something about Henry. Bill Cowan is a distinguished Harvard Business School grad who has achieved a lot of magnificent things, including writing this book. This book is award-winning, has 150 favorable reviews, and especially useful to graduates needing to navigate today's changing workplace, et cetera, et cetera. I'm wondering if the two of you would want to powwow to see what there is to talk about, especially as university graduations approach. Parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles are considering what to buy their graduates to honor the occasion and how to deliver good advice. It's said that, oh, the places you'll go is great fodder for gift material this spring. Those who are keen for practical, tactical guidance might appreciate this book. Perhaps there's some winning introductions to be made to create new conversations with other folks you've had on your column. If you're excited, please do. So this was one of those, let me introduce you warmly as a human being to someone who I think you might want to meet. And I use silver bullets, which are things that Joe talks about, things that only you would know about the other person to demonstrate that this isn't just a casual thing, like this is the real thing. So Henry writes back, thank you. He says, he's a man of few words. He says, methinks Robin Ryan might be a better fit at Forbes. I have copied her. That was on April 11th. Just this morning, moments ago, Nancy, this is a topic in line with what I write about. Is there a press release I can review on Bob and his book? Once I see that, I'll be in touch with you to arrange an interview. Well, what do you know? The press release is already written. I already wrote it, and I want to find it for you because I want to show you, I want to tell you why, okay? I want to open a file. I'm going to browse. Just stay with me. It'll be worth it. William Cowan. Maybe I called him Bill. I don't remember. Oh, here he is. Oh, I know. I know. Stay with me. I'm going to go a different way to find it. It's right over here. Oh, here we go. I said, oh,
You just have to close the dialog box, you'll be fine. Just close the box behind it. This one, close it, yeah.
oh, thank you. Okay. William Cowan aspires for his 22 award-winning book, Building a Winning Career, to be a preferred college graduation gift this spring. I already wrote the press release. We're already planning to release it across a wire service tomorrow. But what I said to Bill was, it would be so much better if we could share this with someone in the media before we share it to the rest of the world so that they get a jump on it. I didn't know that Forbes was important to you. It looks like we've got an opportunity in Forbes. So I'm going to be able to send this to Robin today before anyone else in the world has seen it. And she's going to interview him for Forbes. Because building on what Diana was saying is, she was the only person that asked, why does this matter? Like, I asked him, where do you want to be seen, heard, and celebrated? I think I'm the only person that's ever asked him, where do you want to be seen? And he said, Forbes. I said, oh my God, I know somebody. Let me make it happen. So Barbara was asking me yesterday, like, what could I do a press release about? Like, he's piggybacking on something bigger than he is. Like, everyone on the planet is looking for some way to honor the graduate this spring for graduating from college. He has a new book that can help people actually land, and he's got all these reviews and this and that and the other thing. And there he is, bam, it's all ready to go. So, like, I'm just bringing this to your attention because it was just sort of fun and timely. That, do you have relationships with people that can open doors for your clients? Are you asking your clients what they want? Are you the wizard behind the curtain that can make it happen? Can you nurture that relationship so that $30,000 or more are come your way, like Diana's talking about? And it really isn't a numbers game. It's all about communicating with people. Because when I wrote to Henry, I didn't say, I've got a story for your column, won't you please consider it? Very truly yours. I made it personal. I used the silver bullets. I made it stand out like it mattered. And what do you know? Something that matters is going to happen. So I just wanted to bring that up because it just seemed like a nice little punctuation mark to put on what we were talking about today. Forbes.com. How many of you want to be in Forbes.com? Right? Have you been in Joe, have you been?
I have.
You
I
have.
have.
Oh yeah, I've been there. No big deal. All right, well, it's 10:51. So any other questions or comments about what we've done today? Are you going to go and review your Facebook profiles to make sure they're ready to rock for podcast guests and clients? Yes.
Holly is, not me, but Holly will.
Okay, are you going to revisit your LinkedIn to make sure that it's got your free gift attached? Yes. And if you are in the competition to get to 12 bookings, well, giddy up, because next week is the final week of this course. If you are someone who loves this course and wants to repeat to stay in the community, please let me know, because I'd love to have you continue. If you know of people that would benefit from this course and would like to refer them to me, I would be thrilled and honored to welcome your introductions or referrals. And if you feel like working with me privately is what you would like to do, well, let's talk about it, because the clients that work with me privately seem to get some pretty good results, and it's a way to go beyond what we're able to do in this course. Joe, you had something.
When does your course start? The next one?
So glad you asked.
I was gonna ask the same thing, Nancy, because remember that Q&A that we did inside my author group about podcast guesting for authors
Yes.
some time ago? I want to repurpose that and see what we can do with that.
I would be honored and delighted. And I'm just going to give you some dates here because I actually wrote them down. I'm going to do some kind of enrollment event online on May 29th. May 29th, and I'm going to start the next course on June 13th. June 13th is the start of the next session.
Okay.
Hey, Nancy, I wanted to remind you of something that you said in the last session that we haven't done yet. And it was giving you acknowledgements and testimonials that you could save. I don't know whether we're going to do it on, just pick them off of Zoom, but I thought we were going to do that this week. So I hope we're going to do it next week.
Oh, let's do it next week. Can we do it next week?
Absolutely.
Because I do want to thank Joe Pello for his comment, and I want to thank Harriet for her amazing comment. And I would love to have comments from you, Barbara and Diana, and others who join us next week. That would be so great. One of the things that I'm going to be doing starting this week, because I promised that I would, I actually have a schedule of dates that I'm going to start sharing your free gifts in my Facebook group. And so I have a schedule, and I'm going to start sharing those out, because all your gifts are up and ready to go. And I'm going to start sharing, like, not only am I going to share your free gifts, but I'm going to share some of the successes that you've been welcoming as a student in the course, because your success could light a fire underneath someone else to think, well, I could have that too. And what I'm doing, and this is me being very transparent again, when I've done these launches before, sometimes I have over 1,000 people come to my calls. That's a lot. And I think, oh, there's 1,000 people, there's 1,250 people. That's a lot. I should do really well here. But as I was away in Tucson, kind of reflecting on my life and my approach and the way I do things, it's like, there's going to be some major tweak that I make to how I share this next time that will feel a lot more personal and a lot more, maybe a little less formulaic, so that, I'm just being honest here. When I watched back my previous call, I was thinking, gosh, I know I could do so much better, because this time I'm not going to do multiple JV partners. I'm just going to talk to the people that are already in my world. If people want to be a JV partner, I'm more than welcome to welcome that and reward people in this way. But given the time frame, it's just too much of a rush to go recruiting a whole bunch of partners days before the party's going to start. I'm just going to rely on the list that I have. But what I'm believing is that the clients, I realize I'm rambling here, but I want to say something really authentic and true. This group of people, while it is a more intimate size, has been the best epic fit group of people that I've ever had. I just love having epic right fit people on the bus who show up, do the work, succeed, and collaborate and connect with each other. So for me to have 10 or 20 people in a program feels great. Doesn't feel, I don't need to have hundreds of people in the program. 10 people in the program that do what y'all are doing is cake. Makes me so happy. I'm doing great work. You're doing great work. The results are happening. It doesn't have to be about millions. It has to be about epic right fit people on the bus ready to go downtown. And that's what I'm looking for, is epic right fit clients that want to go downtown. And I hope that you will all invite epic right fit clients that want to go downtown with you. But that's just been a level of clarity that's come to me that has never been more clear. And I just wanted to say that.
Great.
So yes, so next week I'd love to have a round robin of what's happened. And if you can get to 12 podcasts between now and then, bam, bam, bam. I would really like to see that. So thanks for allowing me to share that with y'all today. So anything more before we sign off? Any comments, suggestions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Good stuff. As
Thank
usual.
As usual.
So appreciate y'all. And every ad that you made, every suggestion, every comment added to the richness of this community. I appreciate you all so much. And so go get them this week, see how much you can accomplish. And I'll see you here next week for the final call of this 12-week session, which has been epic, great, and awesome.
Yeah. Nancy.
See y'all.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye, guys. Have a good week.
Thanks. Bye.